Hey everyone, welcome back. It's day 3 of my Salesforce admin training. It's been a few days since I got back on this, so we're just going to jump right into it. Today we're going to try to go through identity basics and data security. Looks like data security is 3,100 points. That might take a while, so we'll see how far we can get through that. Identity basics. Get started. 45 minutes. Hopefully we can breeze through this pretty quick. Get to know Salesforce identity. Alright, admin, Salesforce. What does this mean? Single sign-on concepts. Like always, I'm not gonna really read through this. I'm just gonna browse through it. Some of these stuff I already know. Quiz. How do admin and business benefit from Salesforce identity? Decentralized user management is probably the answer. With single sign-on, social sign-on, use. I think it's gonna be B. Oh, Salesforce identity. Let's go read that real quick. What are the options? Convenient one-click access to be more productive. All right, so that was the answer. Get to know your Salesforce identity users, employee, customers and partners. How do users benefit from Salesforce identity? It's like the same question. They can use one username, password, activity. What is a good reason to customize their user registration for your org or site? That's probably the answer. Nope. Yep. Alright. So I'm really just going through this. I mean, this is a lot of security questions, best practices, uh, things you should understand about users and user identity. If you've never really had to provision or set up a system, it's good information. A lot of these things are pretty standard industry practices, things I've done before in the past. So even though I may not have the answers correct in a few of them, you can always look up this information and review um, the information. Data sharing between application. Um, it's not these two. That's an authentication, so I'm gonna guess OpenID Connect. And which of the following is true when Salesforce act as an identity provider to an external application? V. Oh, oh. Samuel. We'll just do a quick find. Data sharing. Open authentication. All right. Hold on. All right. So basically just browse through that. Let's go on to the next one. All right, going back to the prepare for your Salesforce Administrator credentials. Just went to that, and then data security. Let's see. All right, this is an hour and 50 minutes, it say. So far, we spent 6 minutes on the other one because I didn't read through much of it. Like I said, I'm not. I'm going through these training the way I normally go through training for systems. Don't do what I do if you're not comfortable with that type of stuff. And I'm not showing this to everyone to kind of teach you how to go through the training. It's just documenting the way I'm going through training, and I'll probably explain through some things. Some things I may not, depending on what I think is relevant for people viewing this. And so, it some of the things may help you guys. Some of the things I do may not help you guys. Fields, records, system, login history. You can configure access to data at all the following levels except objects, page layout, records, organization. Access to data at all. I know you could do it through objects, page layout, and records. Is it organization? Controlling record level access. Record level access is not a method for controlling. So I know those two are. This one is. I don't think that one is. Oh, they're both wrong. To data. Each other's records. Give access to records. So objects. Oh, page layout. It's page layout. It's gotta be page layout because page layout, um, you're controlling how the layout is displayed on Salesforce. You can't prevent it from seeing a record. You can prevent users from seeing certain types of fields and information on a record, but you can't prevent them from viewing specific records through page layout. So that's why that was wrong. Which of these is not a method for controlling record level access? Record level access. Row hierarchies? Record level access. You can manage that in these ways. Hierarchies. So profile. Profile's not listed here. Alright, cool. So, I mean, it is good information to read through and understand, but a lot of these things will come to you in practice. But if you're gonna go for the Salesforce Administrator certificate, I've never taken it, but I'm assuming some of these things may show up. And so when you're taking, a certification test, it's a lot more technical and detailed in what you should understand. But in practice, like you will instinctively understand it as you start using the system more. And so even though you don't know the specific details of what controls what, as you configure the system and make changes, you'll be able to understand what is controlling what the different aspects of the system. Okay, more information. Maybe this system is all about. Looks like we got a process to do. Let's do this. And let's make this a little bit smaller. All right. So we need to create a new user, set up a and add it to the profile, user license. So one thing to note right here, because my son ran into this problem. I'm also having my son, my is it 12-year-old, yeah, 12-year-old boy, going through Salesforce Administrator training. So he already actually went through this part of the training, and he ran into a problem here. So make sure you read this step, and it has correct number of licenses. So profile system administrator. Let's go ahead and do that. It probably talks about how to create the yeah. Oh yeah, all of these are steps to go through that. But I'm not gonna go through. Maybe I should, just so you guys can see. All right, we'll go through create a user. All right, service setup. Go through users. User. So you could type user, or I like to navigate so I know where things are. Select user, click new user. Or you can add multiple users. By default, deactivate user. Oh, it doesn't actually make you create an account. It just kind of goes through the steps of how to. So I'm not gonna create one. Fine, network access. So you can set up trusted IP ranges for the orgs. And what this means is, um, you know, um, and if you're not familiar with networking concepts, when your company gets internet service from a internet service provider, you as a business will most likely have a dedicated IP address. And so if you want to restrict your company from only being able to access your Salesforce environment from your workplace, then you would set up a restriction here. But if you do this, it will prevent remote users from being able to access the environment unless you get their address. And you only want to do this if you really understand networking and you really want to prevent um, people from accessing your system that's not allowed. This does make it harder to manage on the IT team or whoever is managing Salesforce. Because it's with security, it's a double edge. Too much security makes it hard for your team member from being able to do their work. Not enough security creates a risk and vulnerability in your system. So you just have to plan it out, balance it. It's best to talk with somebody who understands networking concept and security. Um, for this. Like if you're really gonna do this, it's gonna be a lot of work to manage this, especially if you have remote team members that needs to log into the system. All right, so like I mentioned earlier, um, make sure this user you know that you have available user license. So let's just go check that real quick. Um, Before we create our user. So company information. All right, so see right here, so we wouldn't have been able to do the steps because we would have ran into problems since there's no actual license available. So when you're creating your user, the license will be available. Because my son was trying to create. I mean, he's 12. He's never admin a system before, and so when he was trying, he actually created like 4 different accounts with the same information because he couldn't figure out what was going on. And he was trying to solve the problem by himself until he asked me for help. But one of these user is taking up the license. So we're gonna go in and figure out which user. And I think this license was taken in an earlier um, process. Yeah, I think this was taken in an earlier module. So we remove that license. If we go back into company information, it should create an availabilities. Yeah. So you see there. So total license 2, use license 1, remaining license 1, because we need that license to create this account. Uh, Without that, you wouldn't be able to finish this. So like my son was checking the challenge, and he kept failing because he couldn't assign it to the right um, role or user account. So we'll create new user. First name, last name doesn't really matter. So we'll just call it first, last. The alias needs to be guest ADM. Email is guestadmin at domain.com. Nickname guest ADM. So we'll just give it so this is where he was having a problem. Like he didn't have this Salesforce option because the license wasn't available. So you don't have the license available to assign out, the option won't show up. And then we'll give him this user account. That one. Remove this stuff. And then save. Duplicate. Okay. One. So, like I mentioned earlier, that error came up because somebody out there already created this account And so, it could be a training environment, it could have been a real production environment, it could be a developer environment that somebody created that. So that name wasn't unique anymore. And I added a one at the domain part because the username must contain this. Alright, we'll check it. We should get the points and be able to move on. This is taking a little bit. Not yet completed. Oh, I gotta make it inactive. So, deactivating. Okay, save. Right. So sometimes reading everything, um, uh, gives you is what you need to do. All right, 500 points. Tackle the next one. Let's go. Access, manage objects and permissions, hiring manager, recruiter, interview, standard employees, strict, standard, managing profiles, creating profiles, assigning profiles, all standard stuff. So no steps. A lot of these stuff, if you've done the other modules, you should be able to complete this without going through it. But if you're not familiar with it, probably go back and revisit the earlier modules where you go through, create the user accounts, and add profiles. So what do we need to do? So the company is going through data cleanup and you assign a consultant to help you. You want the consultant to have read-only access to most objects but have edit rights on accounts, contacts, and leads. You don't want the consultant to delete anything or create new records. Alright, so clone the minimum access Salesforce profile with the following setting. Profile. Minimum access. Next. Alright, clone this. And then we're going to call it cleaner. And object permission. So, accounts. That's field level security. I need object permission. It's been a while since I did this, so right here. I think I need to do this is edit the whole profile. Alright, and then we should go down here and say read and edit. Yeah, so a quick way to just, if you need an object to just be read all or modify all, you just check the box and it does everything for you. But so like if we say view all, then that just does that. So we need view and edit, and then on contacts, just gotta find contacts. View, no re. Then the only thing about this, these don't drop, so you kind of have to know where they are, and then leads. Read and edit. Make sure to edit and create object permission are enabled for any other objects in the cleaner profile. Make sure edit is not available. for anything else. Alright. Yeah. So nothing else has edit. Everything else should be good. And then we're gonna hit save. And then check our score. Alright, we got our points. I think we'll be able to breeze through this module pretty quick. Like if you read everything, it should approximately take you about 2 hours to go through this, especially if you run into some issues. Modify field level security, restrict the field. Alright, so if we go to profiles, oh yeah, it's just talking about how you do it. Permissions, hands-on challenge. Alright, sales team member have most of the same object and field permission as standard use pro, but your company wants to make sure that sales team members don't delete certain records. And these scenarios are pretty accurate to what's needed out in practice with the actual environment. Like you'll get requests like this all the time where managers will come to you if you're doing the admin. They'll come to you and be like, hey, can you prevent these users from not being able to do this, or can you only allow this person to do this but these other groups? And so you gotta, that's why I like Salesforce security setup for records or field. It's really flexible, and you can probably do the same thing a few different ways. It just depends on how you structure your environment. So it really makes it flexible and allows people to come to you with really oddball requests to personalize their team's permissions. Alright, so we're going to clone the standard user profile. And the only thing I don't like about this is you always have to click next, or I don't ever know if you can have it display by default. I never actually looked into it. But we're going to clone the standard user profile. Save. And like to really use the default profiles that exist in Salesforce, you have to go through and like really understand the permissions that it gives. I don't know if you want to spend that much time. I've never spent that much time myself to really understand what it can and cannot. Because if you go through this list of things, it's a lot. Like if you want to copy off this, I mean it's and what I've learned in my experience is that um, each manager has its own specific requirements on what users should or should not be able to do. And so I don't usually mess with the standard permissions. I usually just create new profiles of my own to meet those specific needs. It's less time consuming than trying to figure out what the standard stuff. And I usually rename them in a way that makes sense for me. So whatever your company is, I usually start with that and then I create the role. But enough about that. Control access. So standard object permission, accounts, and contacts. Read, create, edit. Accounts and contacts. Read, create, edit. So no delete. Contacts recreated. Edit. No delete. Cascade delete. And user deletes a parent record and all of its associated record are deleted with the reference. And its related contacts are deleted with it. Okay. That's fine. So that error that popped up, all it said is that because contacts are related to other objects, and so if you delete a parent object, so like accounts will have contacts, right? So if somebody deleted the account, all the contacts that are under that account will get deleted as well. And so if somebody has permission to delete accounts but don't have permissions to actually delete a account to a contact record, then the contact will still get deleted. Hopefully that makes sense. Where is it? Yeah. But in this case, for this profile, it shouldn't happen because we unchecked both account and contacts from being able to be deleted. Field permission. Rating field on account object, no access. I'm not sure how to do this. I'm gonna have to go back and read some stuff. Rating field on the account object. So rating field. Search. Nope. No access. Accounts. Field permissions. I don't know what this is. Rating field. Clone the profile. Change that. All permissions are the same. Yeah, I don't know what that is. No access? See, that's the only thing that comes up. I don't think there's field permissions. Oh. It might be under a different. Yeah, we probably have to go. No. But field level security? No. Permission sets. Is that what it's referring to? It's been a while. But these are permission sets. Let's go back to profiles. So just reading this, it might be under profiles. So I'll go find the sales and edit profile object setting. Object setting. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think. All right. I don't know what this means, but I think we did it. Everything else is the same. All right, we'll just go with that. We'll see what if we pass or not. And then now it says go into permission sets. So sometimes you run into these things, doesn't really make sense, but we'll figure it out. Rating. Oh. Label rating? No? Rating, API name, user license, Salesforce. User license, Salesforce. Do we need to create? Oh, right here. Rating field on a control access for the rating permission set. Field permissions. Mm. We don't need that. Field permissions. Permission sets, select permission set and click object settings. Object settings. All right. And then edit. And then we're going to say read access and edit access. All right, this is, well, because I didn't read through everything, I'm running into this issue, but I think I got most of it. So I believe I have this done, and I know I have this done. This is the part where I don't know if I actually did it or not, but we're gonna check and see how it goes. And sometimes I learn better this way by not rating. It forces me to really try to figure out the answer, and I usually retain the information better. All right, rating. Okay, yeah. So I need to figure out what this is. So in the sales profile, we can't find the correct permission for the rating field. All right, so it's in the profile. And so, view assignment, standard object layout, custom object, view. Is it this? I think it's this. Yeah. No access. Oh, okay. Rating. Oh, so it is. It is this. Edit. All right. I think I got it now. So rating. So, I mean, this is one of the drawback of Salesforce because there's a few different ways to do one thing. You know, it sometimes makes it hard to find what you're trying to do because there's it's just everywhere, like the things you can do, and so it's gonna take some time to get used to um, permissioning or setting up profiles and hierarchies and permissions. But once you get used to it, because I haven't done this in a while, once you get used to it, it's becomes second nature. Like you won't even have to think about it once you start setting up accounts. Like you just have to do it in order to get used to it. All right, so we should get the points now. What? What? I thought I did that. Darn it. Permissions. Permission sets. And the rating permission set. Rating. And the rating permission set. We can't find the correct for the field on the. Oh. I got it. So I did read and edit access to the whole thing. But what they want is this, which is weird. I'm sure there's a purpose for why they're doing this. Because in the profile, you prevent them from accessing that field. And then in permission set, you gave access to that field, which is counterintuitive. But there's probably a reason why they're doing that in the training. And we may learn that in the next module. Alright, cool. We finally got our points. I wonder if my son had problems with this. I'm gonna have to ask him tomorrow. Like, hey, did you run into problems when you were doing this? Alright, let's go jump right into it. Alright, we're gonna create a custom object. So we're just gonna do this. Create custom object. Alright, so let me just do that right again. So in the setup page, just go to Object Manager, and then right here at Create, click on Create. It'll create, give options to create a custom object. Create your custom object. We'll just call it Project. Projects. Object name would be project, record name, project, record name, data type text. Configure organization-wide sharing so that project records are visible only to record owners. Allow search, add notes and attachment. Oh, okay. Organization-wide default sharing setting. Sharing? Because I didn't read. Alright, cool. Lucky guess. Sharing settings. Configure the project. Alright, I think. Search project. Alright. Default external, default internal access. Let's just go into that and see what are the options. Public reloading. Project records are only available to the record owner. So we probably want private. And we don't need any share. So also configure the sharing settings so that project records are available to users above them in the role hierarchy. Alright, so they say they won't check for this, but we're gonna do it anyways. So fine, project sharing rule. You can submit changes after the operation. Oh. Oh, this is why they won't check on it. Because it's still going through system changes. Let's just refresh. Alright. New. I'm just going to call it sharing above. Project owned by members of roles. Alright, this is a little bit more general. So project records are available to users above them in role hierarchy. Nope. Roles. Project owned by members of roles. No. See, there's no structure set up yet. So this Sharing settings so that project records are visible to users above them. This is a sharing setting. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that checkbox does it for us. We'll see. I mean, they're not going to check for it, so we won't actually know. But I think this is what it's asking for, making projects so that it's just visible. Yep. All right, cool. Create a role hierarchy. Define a role. CO. This can get complicated. Um, yeah, this can get complicated. It's hard to do in practice. Like when you have a small team, it's easier to do. But when you have a large team and everybody needs different access or hierarchy to things, it makes it hard. Because you know a certain division of a company may have multiple hierarchies of lead, supervisor, and manager, where other departments may just have like manager and then the VP, right? And so you want to make CEO levels of things, but or VP levels, but some people needs VP level access. So it does get complicated to create a good role hierarchy structure in practice. You just gotta really think about access and levels of access. Because in practice, people move around in companies all the time, or companies restructure their org chart quite a bit, especially if you're like a medium to large company. And so trying to manage that in an environment like this can get complicated. But you don't want to overcomplicate. You don't want to create a role for every title. It doesn't really because that makes it hard to manage too. But sometimes you may be stuck doing that. And so try to keep it at simple levels as best as you can so that you don't have to constantly try to move people around, because it does get tedious to try to manage all of this. Just my rant of the day regarding this structure. I mean, it's nice to have, but it can get complicated to manage. So, what are we doing? We're creating a role. Role. I don't need this anymore. So what are we doing? Create the Chief Sales Officer role. Reports to CEO. All right. Label Chief Sales Officer. Reports to CEO. No description, and then we're just gonna say save a new. Label Sales Strategy. G Manager. And it reports to the alright. And then one more. And then we're gonna say slash DG. All right. Cool. And roles, all it really does is, like we were doing earlier, it allows the managers to look at what their team is doing, right? Like if you wanted to prevent departments from not being able to see other department and what they're doing, then having different role structure makes sense. But if you want everybody to just see everything, just create like a default role, and then assign everybody to that default role. So if in your organization that doesn't matter, I wouldn't go through and set up different roles uh, if that's not needed. All right, define sharing rules. Define sharing rules. Let's do this. Most common cases. Only the record owner user above the owner hierarchy. Let's see the project record. However, a training coordinator needs to read only access. Profile that high, medium, low. Before you start, make sure you complete the hands-on challenge in the previous unit. Where you builds on the work in those units. If you haven't created a custom field before, complete data modeling. All right, cool. For the projects object. So object manager, find projects. Fields and relationship. New field of type pick list. Next. Priority. Values. High, medium, low. To all profile and add it to all page layout. All right, cool. I think that's it. Next. Visible to all profiles and add it to all page layout. Wait. So we just need to check this. Next. And there's only one layout. So, and then save. Now they want to create a sharing rule on the project object. Create a sharing rule. Create a sharing rule. Create a sharing rule. But that means we need to create a permission set. Right? Let's read this again. So, like, this doesn't make sense to me. Like, because it says just to create a sharing rule, but it doesn't say that you need to create permission set. So it's like you need to create permission set first before you can create this rule. Rule name. Because there's no, like, you can't just create a sharing rule, right? Unless I'm missing something. Setup. Sharing. Yeah, sharing setting. Yeah, sharing setting. Oh, and organization Y. Is this the right one? Um, yep. Yep. So this is org Y. Project. Sharing rule, new label. With training coordinator. Share. Well, that's dumb. It says choose any label you want, but the rule name automatically populates from the label. So why didn't it just tell you to do that? Because we could have just typed this. Share project records. And then it just auto-populate. I think it just wants you to go through the exercise of creating something and then knowing that you can change the rule name to anything else. Rule type based on criteria. So field priority equals high. Like if you know the value, you could have just typed it to and it would have worked just fine. Share with role training coordinator and access level read only. Save. Do you want to continue? So all it's just a message warning you, letting you know that once you hit save, this rule it's gonna take time for it to calculate things in the background. So if you had role hierarchy set up and certain people couldn't see certain things, and you had to create a sharing zone, right? Like, instead of moving forward, new records are, gonna go through this rule set and share with the training coordinator role based on the priority being high, right? So what Salesforce does is it's gonna go and run through the database and any record that is already created with this criteria where the priority set's high, it will automatically share it to anybody in with the training coordinator role, if that makes sense. All right, so let's check. That should be good. All right, we're done. So that took about another 50 minutes for me to run through. If you spent time reading it, it'll probably take you a little bit longer than what I did. And look, so whenever you do that, it sends you a little alert that says there's sharing rules has been completed. So you'll know when the rules are done processing through all the data. Like if you have a lot of data, it'll take, a little bit longer. This probably took like, 10, 20 seconds. And then I got an alert saying that it was completed. So profile. And so we completed 2 more modules. I have 5,000 points now, and I've reached a venture rank. So we're gonna end it. Let's just browse through this a little bit. How many ranks are there? So I'm a hiker, I'm an explorer, adventurer, 10 badges. Non badge. Climb the ranks. It's a game for you to see, get more points out there. Let's go back. Go to my profile. I mean, we were already there. I'm gonna explore right now. 3 more badges to get the adventure rank. So I'm not an adventurer yet. So I have 2 skills. What are my skills? Security and general. So I have general skills and security skills. 7 badges. All right. So let's go back here. Oh, too many windows opening up. Take a look at this trail mix. So we finished identity basics, data security, and there's permission set groups, protect your data in Salesforce. I'll do that the next time. So, hopefully you guys enjoy this. You saw I went through a lot more challenges today than I've had before in the first 2 days. Because these things are just they start to get a little bit more challenging. You have to read to understand. I've just managed systems, and so even if I don't know it, I can figure it out. But you can always just refer back to the information and be able to figure it out. So you saw I didn't ask for help from anywhere. I just kind of went through, talk it through by myself and be able to see it. So, subscribe if you like the content. Comment, ask questions down below. If you run into problems, we can work through it, talk through it, and try to figure out anything that you're running into issues with. All right, so I'll see you in the next one.